The skies over the Bay Area this spring have not been great for observing. A lot of cloud cover and a lot of rain, which is great because we've been needing it, but not so excellent for star watching. So, for the past few months, I've been focusing on another project, which is building out this ultralight daub based off of a bunch of different designs I've seen online. I can't take credit for it really. It's sort of like an amalgamation of a bunch of different folks' ideas here, and then a Keen Optics HC02, I believe it's called, the focuser on there. So I'm getting to a place where at least I can observe with it. There are still some weight issues, balancing, and things like that that I'm tweaking through, but it's good enough to get a few sketches in and some pretty nice nights of observing. So this evening I decided to set my sights up on NGC 2392. It's also known as Caldwell 39, also the Clown Face Nebula or the Lion Nebula. I hadn't really done any research into this aside from just kind of tracking it down in the sky before I got started with it. So it was going to be a fun experiment just to see what details I pulled out and then figure out some of the specifics of what other folks have seen in theirs after the fact. So as usual, starting things out pretty standard. Pencil marking in all of the primary stars and then getting those marked in with white ink in my fountain pen here. Tonight's skies were decent, but not ultra fantastic. It was like seeing was like 3 or 4. It was fairly clear, but also just a little bit of wobble in the sky. Transparency is kind of standard for the Bay Area, which isn't super great. I could see kind of like fourth magnitude stars or so. And I would say that Bortle wise, it was around 7 tonight. So getting into some of the nebula here, you can see I was penciling out kind of the general shape of what I was seeing, softening it through with a smudge tool here, and then continuing to try and refine it. Because it is a nebula and I'm in pretty bright skies, I spent a fair amount of time in the dark here, just sort of readapting my eyes a little bit, trying to tease out some of those more specific details as I was going through the sketching process. There were definitely some pretty unique shapings that I was noticing in that central area. Looking at images of kind of placement and all of that of the nebula later on in reference to the stars that I had plotted out, it looks to me like the real bulk of NGC 2392 is sort of in that central area that I was originally drawing. All this additional detail that I'm kind of parsing out here it was extremely faint in the eyepiece. Definitely felt like there was stuff in that area, but I couldn't really get a whole lot of specificity in there. It was dancing in and out a lot. Smudging through on all of the circle there, like you just saw with the smudge tool, was just to kind of delineate some of that kind of overall random haze that I was getting. And then coming in here and defining the magnitudes a little bit better of those brighter stars. Okay, this felt to me like it was starting to get into the right place. I switched over from red light into amber light like you just saw, just to double check what I was drawing felt right under brighter circumstances. Took a quick look at the telescope in the dark for a little while, and then just getting into, I was noticing a lot of kind of what it felt like nebulosity kind of floating all over the place around in the distance. Referencing later on in some of the photographs, I don't see any of this kind of stuff in the area, so it might have been a trick of the eye for tonight. It was pretty hazy out, but I figured I'd sketch it in because that's what I saw. After getting the main shapings of everything in here, I took a bit of a break and then switched my Nagler 5mm Type 6 eyepiece out for a Orion Ultrascopic 3.8, just to get a little bit closer in there see if I could kind of tease out just a little bit more detail in that central area, which is what I really wanted to kind of see if I could lock in. So for the rest of this drawing here, it was really just spending my time looking and focusing at some of those details, seeing if I could kind of spot things through the shifting haze of everything in the sky, and marking it down when I felt like I've seen it a couple or 3 times. And that's about it. When I was done, this is where it landed. Overall, like I said, I think that the sketched nebulosity that it did is probably a lot wider, especially comparing it to the the photographs that I've seen online of it. But the general shaping in the center there, I feel pretty happy with in terms of what it looks like it is online. Sort of like the clown face rotated, just under 90 degrees to the right is what the orientation would be, I believe. And it felt like, well, I was seeing something that matches what I'm seeing online. So overall, a fun sketch, not super long. And hopefully the skies will clear up as we're getting into the later spring.